GoPro.
Yep. Yeah, I want to take a little bit of...
Those are actually really high quality cameras for their size.
Oh, they are. Okay. That was the Toland School. The kids at Toland all went to school there. Okay. We joked that it was called Toland Tech. Well, these are looking kind of nice.
I know. When I saw them out by my house, like some of them changing colors, said it would be nice because it would be like some would be golden, others would be green. Okay. There would be yellow ones.
I think I've got batteries in the plug compartment then.
Yes, it's just really nice today. Especially with the sun and how it just passes through.
Okay. This used to be called the Gardner Farm. It was actually a farm. All of this trees in here wasn't there.
They've grown.
That's grown up in the last... None of those trees are more than 50 years old. They weren't there when I was a teen. And there was a railroad went across the middle of the field. Up until a few years ago, the railroad crossing sign was still down there. Nobody had ever taken it down. I don't know if the railroad I think came up this far because until a few years ago it came up as far as Toland. They were still hauling sand on the railroad at one point in time. Okay. Now, that railroad though went the whole way up here to Laurel Lake and then to Fuller. It's down in the valley there because railroads cannot go up and down hills.
No.
Okay.
Me and my dad talked about this. To go up 2 feet, you would have to have like 100 feet.
I think it's
build up.
I think that's called a 2% grade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if a train can handle a 2. I know they can handle a 1. Okay. I just don't know what the bottom is, but I know that it's
somewhere around there.
It can't handle much.
So they usually like to go flat. That's why they build bridges across things you would look at it they have a small divot in the ground and they build a bridge across it.
Yeah.
And you go, why would they do that? Well, it would be too costly to go down then up again.
Yeah, well, we had it's down in there, I don't know where. But if you look down through, you can see the ground sort of level off in there, and the railroad's going to be in there somewhere. Most of the old railroads, you can still, if you go into the woods, you can still walk them because Now we're coming up here on Pine Grove Furnace, no, we're coming up on Laurel Lake first. This is beautiful country. People talk about the Rocky Mountains and stuff, and they're awesome. I've been there, okay? But there's darn few places on Earth that match beauty of what I'm going to call the Allegheny Mountains, okay? Sorry, not Allegheny, the Appalachians. Runs from North Carolina, called the Smokies, to up into New York State, and I forget what they're called. Here they're called the Alleghenies. The Alleghenies are also called the aircraft graveyard.
Let me guess. We dumped some planes here.
Lots of them.
Wait, does that mean I could go walking out in the forest and find just a jet, like a plane, just sitting there, wrecked?
Few jets. Most of them most of that was done in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s.
So old, like, old motor-operated planes.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of them have been picked up or whatever. But they just... This is a really bad area for storms that come up, things like that. Now, this is where the railroad crosses the road here and goes behind the lake. Because think, couldn't go down here. This is too steep. Okay.
So the railroad would come up and go that way.
It was.
You can travel across. Yeah.
It probably was coming up a 1% grade or 2% grade along
all
there.
the way into that way.
And then.
And the road and it just happened to pass over each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wherever they cross. That's the breastwork of the Laurel Lake Dam. And that was originally built for an ice cutting, but today it's used for recreation. I think it's a little deeper now than it was then. Okay, in other words, I think that breast of the dam was set a little higher to get a little more depth. Don't know what's happened that it's overgrown so much. That's Ice House Road there, by the way.
Which leads up to the ice house.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it gets there. I've never gone back and these trees here are just so awesome. I mean, you talk about...
You know, I always hear foreigners coming to, like, America, and they always visit places like the Grand Canyon or New York City or California.
Yeah.
Or Hawaii. But why never come here? This is a gorgeous place.
We don't know. We don't. Yeah. It just isn't. It isn't publicized enough. And it's although it's really beautiful now with the colors, it doesn't matter. I mean. Hate to say this, but
it's beautiful in the springtime too. Summer, winter,
and you should see it. You should drive this road in the winter at night with 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. The trees just light up enough to And
there was this one point in Canada where we went and visited. All of the, my grandparents, they lived up in like a forested area, close by to the city, but like not too awfully far away. But it was still like this, where it's forested. Everything, it had rained, snowed, and then froze over. So all of the rain turned to ice. All the snow just got hard, and it became like this winter wonderland, where all the trees had these like long icicles on them, and then snow piled up on top. And the ground was covered in snow that you could just stand on. Your feet wouldn't sink in. You would just walk across it.
Well, I think this winter,
it was crazy.
At some point, I'm going to drive to Erie and back.
Erie?
Yeah. There's a town up in the trip to Erie. I can't think of the name of it right now. That has the old street lights.
Oh.
I want to go through there in the day and in the night. Take pictures. That's number one. Some of these log cabins are quite old. Not sure of how old or what. But this was a resort for people from Philadelphia and Harrisburg, big cities. They would come in on the train. And see, the train track was down there in the flat. So, okay, 33.3 to 39.7 is 6.4 miles from the railroad. And that's the one of the paymaster's shacks.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that may not be paymaster. This is the Ironmaster's mansion, which is awesome. I've got pictures of the inside of that. There there are places that I have been able to get that the average person
would never be able to go.
Well, you could, but you'd have to play games to do it. Okay, and by the way, I've never taken pictures in a place I wasn't allowed to. In other words, I had permission, but the permission was granted for some interesting reason. I have pictures of the restoration area at the
at the what?
I'm trying to think. The Air Museum in Hartford, Connecticut. I've been back where they were rebuilding aircraft, where they were restoring aircraft. I have a picture of a B-29 engine laying on its back with the propeller shaft up in the air. It is an awesome piece of metal. Now, several pieces of metal, but
yeah. We're still technically not at the camp, even though we've gone 6 miles.
Up, we're right up here is the turnoff. Do you have that sign?
I don't think so. But I think there's pictures you can just take. You can find of that online.
Well, yeah.
But there's something about getting them in hand, I guess.
Well, it's not. It's just that if something. One of the reasons I like to have my own picture is because I can't violate copyright. If it's my picture,
you own it. Yeah,
I own it. Okay, we are right now 8 miles.
And they still have to walk all the way.
Okay, well, not 8. Yeah, well, 1/10 of a mile short of 8. Okay.
And they still have to walk the rest of the way up here.
41.2. Okay. Now,
I don't care who you are. 8 miles is a long way to walk.
Yeah. Now, they did have a vehicle following them. Not sure where that came from. And might have come down from the camp. And it was probably a Jeep or a small truck. So if they had a prisoner that had difficulty walking, they at least could.
Yeah.
Okay. We did.
Best we could.
We did a pretty good job of being humane to the prisoners. I am sure we screwed up at times. I am sure we had prison guards who occasionally screwed up. Okay? But you have to remember that many of those people also had either fought, okay, or had relatives who were fighting.
The Germans, yeah.
And, you know, it's a hard thing to get past.
But then you also have to think that there were some of those prisoners who were German military, but they surrendered.
Okay, but there were also some of them who were still fighting still had the hard-nosed
Nazis, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to look at everything. Did we do a really good job? Yes. Did we do a perfect job? No. No, we didn't. Did we do as good as we could? Probably. Okay? Or we came very close to it. And that's what I look at is, okay, now this little spot here is called checkpoint 0. When we do the bike ride or the hikes up here, the one hike, the Iron Masters hike,
yeah.
Annie and I were always there. That was checkpoint 0. Do you know why it was called checkpoint 0?
Because it was the last one?
No, when the first year we did the hike, there was no checkpoint there. They had checkpoint 1 to 5. And at the last minute, they realized that these people are coming through a really bad section of rocks. I think that's it right there. They're coming through a very bad section of rocks. It has rained and the rocks are slippery. There we are. Okay? So...
Do we park in there?
Well, I wasn't going to. I guess we probably ought to. But...
Because we have to walk up, so...
Yeah. But...
Not the parking lot, I mean...
Yeah, okay. But anyway, we... Okay, Bunker Hill Road. Oh, wow.
But...
It was still working when we went up to the show, but I don't know when it quit. I forgot about it when we got back in the car. Okay.
I forgot when we left the car.
Oh, I forgot it then, or I would have shut it down. Okay. But what happened is I lost the battery charger. Okay? And I only had one battery, the one that was in it.
No, so how did your dad mess up the one company?
Oh, well, what happened was they wanted him to go in and testify to some things that weren't really
true.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. He might not have had to lie, but he would have had to mislead everybody, which, as far as I'm concerned, is lying. Okay? So he avoided the summons server. I mean, to the extent of not coming home till late at night, things like that. By the way, this was built as a auditorium for holding plays. It just was too far out. It was called not Allenbury. Anyway, this road goes across to Shippensburg and over to Artsville. Beautiful piece of road.
Look at that, all this.
Yeah. Your grandma and I come through here the year before we got married with about 3 inches of snow on the ground. Shouldn't have come down this way, but we did. And those pines in there were hanging with snow. Beautiful. I had a stop there that I was manning, and had some guys carrying all kinds of jugs of stuff in. They'd park there, carry jugs in, come back, carry more jugs into the woods. Cleaning fluid, yeah, that kind of stuff. You ever see that? Get out of there.
Why?
It's a meth lab.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I couldn't leave. So I called in and I said, just be aware that if I don't respond, you need somebody to come down here. And when we were getting ready to close down, they come down to pick up, the guys come down to pick up the signs and stuff that they put out. And I said to the two guys, I said, do me a favor, we leave here alone together. What do you mean we leave here together? I don't leave till you're here. You're ready to go. You don't leave till I'm ready to go. He says, why? I said, because there's a meth lab up in there and I don't want to be here alone. Oh. The guy pulls back his jacket and there's a little black thing in there. And We picked up the cones and the signs. We left.
Did you ever tell the cops about them?
No, I should have probably, but I did not want to mess with it. I figured sooner or later those guys were, the way they were carrying on, they were dumb enough they were going to get caught sooner or later. So, you know. Oh, yeah, I've had some fun. Rod Small ran across one. They had a couple generators running out in the middle of the woods with a tent. They had crock pots there cooking meth. Oh, yeah. You have some fun when you do things. Now, we're going down. We've been up high. Now we're going down. And the one ride that I did, we were stationed down here at the bottom of the hill. Not here. It's on the other creek. And the ride crossed here. And we tried to tell a couple of young girls that we're riding. We're 5 of them riding together. And they had never done a trail ride before. And they decided to do this trail ride. And they did it right, okay? They borrowed bikes from their boyfriends, okay? They're 19, 20, 22 years old. Just want to do something different.
I can respect that.
Mm-hmm. And they borrowed bikes, trail bikes from their boyfriends. And instead of coming out the day of the ride to run 20-some miles, they come out 4 or 5 weeks before and did short runs. Okay? To get used to the bikes and stuff. But these girls are squeamish in the woods. And the one girl says, I ran over something back there. And she said, I think it was a dead bird. She said, the other girl said, I saw something in the woods. I don't know what it was. And I said, well, there's bears in here, coyotes. Me and the other guy, we had them going. And finally, the one girl looked at me and she said, you know, if you told me the sun's coming up tomorrow morning, I wouldn't believe you. And we all started to laugh. Okay. We had some fun with them, but we didn't, you know.
Oh my gosh.
And they weren't near the front. Now, this was a ride, so we're not talking time.
No.
It was for diabetes, by the way.
Huh.
But anyway, but they, it was so funny because these 5 girls, they weren't, most of the people that were riding were all scratched up, nicked up, you know, blood running at places. And these 5 girls could have fixed their hair and makeup and looked pretty good. Okay? They weren't killing themselves.
Is it still Michaux State Park?
Well, okay. You have 3 things here. You have Michaux State Park, or Michaux State Forest, Pine Grove Furnace State Park, and Caledonia State Park. And Michaux Forest runs even further south of Route 30. We're coming up on Route 30. This is coming around the corner. This is that pond that I showed you that had, I said was built in the 1800s for the ironworks.
Oh.
Okay?
No, though, so many people these days, like 18, 19, 20, they don't do anything different than any other 18, 19, or 20-year-olds.
No. But these girls decided
to go on,
and they were not college students. They were girls that worked, that were out in the workplace.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they might have been a little older than that. But they had some common sense that's unusual. You know, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it together. We're going to get a little bit of experience before we do it.
And we're going to have some fun.
And we're going to have some fun doing it, and we're not going to kill her. See, now that's a reconstruction, but that's the Caledonia iron furnace. Yeah. I have a picture of a gal somewhere coming off the trail. She's got blood running from her knee down to her ankle. Streaks of it. Okay, it's stopped bleeding now, but and she's pushing her bike that's got a flat tire on the front.
That'll tell a story. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. That picture's worth 1,000 words.
And she's got this big smile on her face. And I'm saying, not me. Oh yeah. But you know what? What's so neat is getting out there with people who are actually doing something.